My name is Diana McCrae, and I am one of the founders for Black Talent TV, and I am the host for today's show. Along with my co-founder, Patricia Rivera, we created Black Talent TV to be a positive and proactive multimedia outlet dedicated to showcasing the narratives of multicultural filmmakers, writers, directors, and producers and entertainers. We have interviewed close to 1,000 artists on Black Talent TV, and I want to give a shout out to my wonderful team members, Philip Hernandez and Simone Jackson. Today, we are interviewing two very powerful, special, talented women, Connie Winston and Passion Hansome. And I'd like Connie to just kind of introduce herself to the audience, and then we're going to hear from Passion.
Good afternoon. My name's Connie Winston. I'm the writer-performer of American Captives, Lena Baker and Sandra Bland, which tells the story of Lena Baker, a Black American woman who sat in the electric chair, was executed in 1945 for killing a white man in self-defense. And she is the first and only woman to have sat in the electric chair in the state of Georgia, and that's combined with the story of Sandra Bland, who was found dead in jail 3.5 years ago in Texas.
Wow. And Passion, can you talk a little bit about you have like over 35 productions, so give us a little bit of a shout out about what you've been doing and how you got on the project.
Well, my name is Rhonda Passion Hansome. I direct under the name Passion, directed by Passion, because I bring a lot of that to my work. And I am so excited to be working with Connie because we have been reunited over decades of having been out of touch with each other. And Connie is such a compelling performer, and the piece that she has written is so riveting. I am incredibly proud of the work that we're doing together on American Captives, and just so excited to get people to see these last 4 performances, which are only on Friday and Saturday evenings at 7:30 at Dixon Place. I have been blessed to have been honored by Audelco as a theater professional with their Trailblazer Award, their Board of Directors Award. I have directed at Black Spectrum, at the Billie Holiday Theater, in the Chekhov Festival, in the Fringe Festival, and just so many places like the National Black Theater Festival that is every other year in North Carolina, and where I hope American Captives will have a chance to shine. I just feel so blessed when people accept my passion and my vision around helping their words come to life. And I certainly am in that situation, working with Connie and the incredible team that she has around her with American Captives.
Well, thank you both for coming on the show today. And I think one thing I would like to ask is, Connie, can you tell us a little bit more about the story? And because you're talking about 2 amazing women, so can you just share with us a little bit about the story American Captives?
Sure. So the story originally was entitled On Griffin Alley, and it was a solo performance piece about Lena Baker. And as I mentioned earlier, she was a Black American woman who was electrocuted in 1945 in the state of Georgia, and remains the first and only woman to have sat in the electric chair. I received a copy of the trial transcript by a gentleman who was working with Lena's family to try and get her exonerated, which she was in 2005. And for the longest time, I didn't do anything with it because I didn't know what to do. And then 5 years ago, I met a filmmaker, and he became very interested in the story. His name is Joey Huertas. So we started working together on it, just meeting once a week, and he would record our meetings. I would write. And then eventually we had a script, and then he started acquiring and creating audio-visual elements, and we were then offered a residency by Atlas Productions in a small community garden on East Houston Street in Manhattan. And then a subsequent production took place on the street, so it was basically a street performance at 5 Miles Gallery in Crown Heights. And then I was offered one night to perform at Dixon Place in 2017 by Ellie Covan, who is the founder and the artistic director. And Joey was unable to work with me, to continue working with me. So I brought on another director, and it changed drastically. It's completely different from the current production, and it's quite different from the original production. And that production was entitled Down on Griffin Alley. So we brought in a cast of 5 other actors. And so now we're back to it being a solo performance, because we've incorporated the stories of Lena Baker, Sandra Bland, and myself. Hence the title, American Captives, Lena Baker and Sandra Bland.
What's so exciting about this production for me, in addition to Connie's wonderful ability to affect the audience, is that it is a multimedia presentation. We are coming at you from all ends. There's audience participation, there is music, there are projections, and there is an intimate yet provocative exploration around the deaths of Black people at the hand of authorities in this country.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah.
I have a question for both you guys. I as someone who hasn't, as someone in the audience, I would like to ask you, and as an actor and as a director, what do you want the audience to hear, to feel, and to see with this performance? And also to leave with? What is that main message that you want us all to get?
Well, Passion asked me that question when we were in rehearsal, and I think I do. The effect that I want is for people to leave in tears. I really do, because these stories have just had such the deaths of Lena Baker and Sandra Bland, especially Sandra Bland, have just had such an impact on me, and I really carry their spirits with me, and it's eerie because I obviously never met either woman, but as I say in the piece, here we have 2 women who died at the hands of a police state, and I'm just as vulnerable, but I'm not just as vulnerable. We're all vulnerable, and I think the larger question that I'm posing, or at least have in the back of my mind, is the quote by, I think it was, what was his name? Niemöller. He's the one, first they came for the gypsies, and I wasn't concerned because I wasn't a gypsy. They came for the Jews. I wasn't concerned because I wasn't a Jew. And then they came for me, and then there was no one else left to be concerned. And I think that's where we are in our society right now. There's a bit too much complacency. Oh, well, that doesn't affect me. Oh, well, that will never happen to me. And I think, especially in American society, because of who we are, and this idea that of American exceptionalism, everything is fine until it isn't. And yeah, go ahead, Passion, because I talk too much anyway.
No. For me, what I want the audience to leave with is, I want them to feel affected by the work. I want them to feel aware of this information, because a lot of people in the audience just don't even realize that this has been going on. And it's not just about Lena Baker and Sandra Bland. We talk about so many and too many Black people who have been hurt and or killed at the hands of police brutality or unfairly through the authorities. And I want them to take action. I want you to be affected. I want you to be aware, and I want you to take action. Consider, what can you do about this situation? Right.
And there was a woman who attended last week, and I don't think I mentioned this to you, Passion, but it was Mary Beth. She made I think it was Mary Beth who made the connection with the new Jim Crow law, not the new Jim Crow law, God forbid, but the book, The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. And that book really encapsulates what is happening to Black Americans. So we can't be lynched anymore. It just is not a good look. We're supposed to be the leader of the free world, and we can't go around hanging and lynching Black people anymore. So what do? We incarcerate them.
Or kill them outright on the street, defenseless, hands up or down, weapon or not. Exactly.
Well, weapon, drugs, whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever, but we are being antagonized, constantly continue to be antagonized by the police state. And as I say in the play, it's not just the white cops. It's because it's about power. With these cops out here today, it's about power. So we're looking at Black policemen, we're looking at female policemen, we're looking at Asian policemen, we're looking at Latino policemen. As long as they have a gun and a badge, they can wield power over anybody. And again, race doesn't matter anymore. So this is a big concern of mine, because I and as I say again in the play, I have a pathological fear of police. I don't like them. I don't like to look at them. I don't like to acknowledge them on the street. They really bother me. And again, because I feel that they're walking around with this assumed superiority, not assumed superiority complex, this superiority complex and this assumed power that they have over me, and they do. But again, it's not just me being as a Black woman, it's everybody, but nobody thinks that they're affected until they're affected.
Exactly. Well, you guys are both very passionate about this topic.
Absolutely.
As well. I am also as well, because being a Black woman and older, living through the civil rights movement, marching with Martin Luther King, doing all the things that we've done, to create a better world, a better America. And still in 2018, me and my business partner talk about this all the time. We have to deal with this is just mind-boggling to me that we have to deal with this at this point. And to your point, it is about everyone understanding the need to stand up against this injustice and take some sort of action in their own way. You know what I mean? Everybody has a different thing. So I definitely feel this is like a very important topic. And, passion from a director's perspective too. It's like I hear, Connie's passion and emotion, and then for you bringing that out. How is that, in terms of bringing that emotion and that strength and that her passion out?
Well, for me, the excitement for me was interpreting her message in such that I could do things visually. Like the way the play begins is how I saw her message in spite of the way it was written. I like the idea of contrasting a gritty jail song against the pictures of beautiful Black models and actresses in furs and glamorous poses. That works on the audience. It works on their sensibilities. I like the idea of using echoes and sound effects to reach out to the audience on different sensory levels. And I absolutely love working with Connie, who is so flexible as an actor and has so much access to her emotions that when I suggest her, going to a certain place, she does that and does it deeply. And that helps with my goal of making sure the audience is affected. It's a tremendous success, and whatever you hear in my voice is my joy at being associated with something that is so powerful. To see people leaving and being speechless or talking volumes about how strongly the piece has affected them.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you both. I think,
Thank you.
it's a project that it sounds like something that everyone really needs to see. And like,
well, that's something else that Mary Beth said to us is she says everybody needs to see this, and it's absolutely true. It's not didactic, it's not pedantic, it's not hitting you over the head, but it is very revealing, provocative, and it's about our lives right now in the face of brutality and the deaths of our people.
Yep, I agree.
So I have one question for both you guys too. Connie, you talked about the oppression and the introduction of welfare, and I thought that was an interesting talking point. About that. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, I think that's sort of it's not how it started. That's how it continued. Okay, so, and it's ironic because Johnson was sort of talking out of about both sides of his hand. There's the Civil Rights Act and it's passed, and that's in one hand, and then out of the other side of his mouth, he introduces welfare, which he, in his white mind, thought that he was doing a good thing for people of color, specifically black people, the black family. But that's the problem with white liberals, and who are basically racist, but they think that they're doing something good for black people. But it has decimated the black family, because now we're looking at, 50 years ago? We're looking at 4 or 5 generations of black families that have been on welfare and caught up in this cycle of dependency.
Yes.
On the system, on the white patriarchal system, if you will. Pardon me, sorry to be so untoward here, but on the Democratic Party, because it's the Democratic Party that blacks have historically and traditionally voted for and kept in power, and it is the Democratic Party that has started to take the black vote for granted.
That's an interesting point. Yes.
And not to mention that it was the Democratic Party, originally known as the Dixiecrats, who are the founders of the KKK. Another little known fact, or a fact that goes unacknowledged.
Yeah. I think I was having a conversation with some black women yesterday. We were talking about collaborating and sisterhood thing, and we're talking about filmmakers and actually a contest. But one of the points that came out that we all really agreed upon is that we cannot just feel because this is a so-called black production that it's all black people got to watch it. It has to be a great production. Well, I don't care if it's a film or it's a performance or it's a play, whatever. We have to work just as hard or even harder than anybody else to make sure that our narrative gets out there. I am one that
absolutely.
I have just been like this advocate for 5 years ago when we started Black Talent TV. One of the reasons is because no one else was really acknowledging a lot of the stories that web series and other people were talking about. And then I was like livid because we had no black woman leads in television or whatever. And they were always like the sidekick or something. And that just was like, for me in 2013 and even now, it's not enough. We need to have more stories. So I get exactly what you're saying. We have to tell all stories. Right. And I think the media...
Diana, before I go, I just would like to urge your wonderful audience to take advantage of the shows coming up. I know you and Connie are going to continue talking,
yes.
but I would love for everyone who hears this to post on whatever social media they are active on, to post the hashtag American Captives, and I want them to go to the Dixon Place, that's dixonplace.org, to the Dixon Place website and order their tickets, because we only have 4 more shows, and those shows are at 7:30 on Friday and Saturday through October 20th, and they will see Connie and experience something that is just extraordinary. And I hope that they tell me that they heard about it from your great show. And I thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I hope to meet you sometime in the future.
I look forward to that.
Yes.
Forward to that.
Yes.
And Connie, I'll talk with you later.
All right. Ciao, ciao. Have a good day. Thanks.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, go ahead, Connie. I mean,
I just want to make another point here because it's connected. So when I first met Joey, my original collaborator, I also wanted to do a project on the Tulsa race riots. And I had a personal connection to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And that story really riveted me, the story of Black Wall Street.
yes.
So because what happened there was a lie about a young Black male elevator operator and how he allegedly accosted a white woman who entered the elevator in a department store in Tulsa. It was a lie. He was arrested. There was a raid, if you will, on the jail. And Tulsa, Black Wall Street, over the next 3 days was destroyed by the state government. They had the National Guard in. They destroyed the entire district of Black Wall Street. And it was by design and it was intentional. And again, what I'm about to say is very untoward, and I know that someone is probably going to have a fit when I say it, but Black people were really better off during segregation because we were forced to do for ourselves. We had Black doctors, we had Black teachers, we had Black schools, we had Black colleges, we had Black businesses. We weren't looking for handouts. We were supportive of one another. And there was a slew of Black townships in the Midwest during that period of what was it? I think it was that year. I think it was 1923. There was one year where you had this spate of lynchings all throughout in North Carolina, all throughout the Midwest and the South. And it was there's even a book called The Red Summer. In any event, we were forced after so-called Reconstruction. We Black people were forced to rely on ourselves, and we did pretty well. But when whites started to see that we were independent of them and that we no longer needed them, they were like, "Oh no! We can't have this. We can't have this. It's bad enough that we had to free them. We've got to control these people."
Yes.
And so that's how this whole thing started, with my talking to Joey about that, and then him asking me what other projects I had brewing. And I told him about Lena Baker, and he said, "Okay, let's put Tulsa to the side right now. Let's focus on Lena Baker." So that's how this whole thing started. So that's really connected to this idea of the introduction of welfare, how it forced many black families to become dependent upon the system, upon the state. And in return, and it was the Democrats who were responsible for it, in return they get our vote year after year after year. And what do we get? Just constant independence, the inability to think for it. Not the inability to think for ourselves, but they don't want us to think for ourselves. They want us to rely on them. It's this really sick quid pro quo, if you will.
Yes.
Tit for tat.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think now is the time for us, and I'm going to ask you this too. I mean, I believe it's so important for us to get how powerful we are, how creative we are, and how much we bring to the table. I mean, I think
oh my God,
we're just amazing. And I for one, I have to be honest with you. I had to do my own personal revolution. I had to check myself to make sure that I wasn't being a victim, right? And that I was, being proactive in my own life and not dependent on what others thought or what other, being needy. And when I realized that, it was such an amazing revolution for me, because I realized I was being this victim and depending on others. So I want to ask you why, you said it a lot, but I think you can never say it enough. It's like, why it's important that as Black women, we get this, as, for our culture, that we have to really understand. Because I think what you're bringing out is some points that are just very prolific, that we need to, you're coming from a perspective that we need to understand, and that is so accurate to what's really going on today and why we are still dealing with certain issues today.
Well, there's just all these assumptions that have never been addressed or corrected about Black women. What's something, a little bit of what I try and touch on in American Captives is the vulnerability of Black women. Black women, and we're not supposed to be vulnerable. We're the backbone. We're the matriarch. We're not supposed to suffer from mental illness. Right? We're always the strong one, mammy, and all the other stereotypes that have been proliferated throughout the years and that have never been corrected. And this is on the part of Black men too, unfortunately. So I think the other thing that I'm trying to address in the piece is our complicity. We're all complicit on some level. We're all responsible for this, for the crap that's going on in our lives, because we get comfortable, because we get complacent, because we say, oh, well, that's not me. That'll never happen to me. And again, going back to what I said, everything is fine until it's not.
Yes.
And that's really a scary thought to me.
Yes. Yes. I think that's the real underlying theme that we all have to, people always say, well, I never thought this was going to happen to me or in certain situations. But I also think that, we have to claim our value. You know what I mean? As women,
oh my God, absolutely.
Right. And I think this is what you're saying. We have to really understand from humanity's point of view, from being a Black woman, whatever, that we're so valuable to this whole world.
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh my God.
That's the point.
But this also comes from knowing our history. And so again, talking about reliance, we can't rely on our education system to teach us Black people about our history. So there go I, by the grace of God. Thank God for my mother and my father. My mother was a school teacher. There was always reading material in my house. I read at a very early age, and so I understand the importance of reading. And I was introduced to Black history as far back as I can remember. I've never not known about Black history. I wish I knew more. And sitting here talking to you, I wish I had studied African American studies in school, but I chose theater. But the history of Blacks in the United States and just worldwide. I mean, there's the book Before the Mayflower, before the whites came here to the United States, America, and took the land away from the Native American. We're talking about our history in Africa. My God, it's not enough to change your name to an African name and wear a dashiki. You need to understand your history, because everybody else does. All the other nationalities out there, they understand their history.
You're absolutely correct. They sure do. And then they make sure that their kids and their kids' kids and their kids' kids understand it. Where they came from, what the struggles were, where they're going, which is like one of the reasons why I love Afrofuturism and the whole Wakanda thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That paints a real picture of who we are to me. I mean, we have some situations, but that is everything that we are and can be more, right? And that when that whole thing came out, I really was like, I'm sure everybody loved, Black Panther, but I think we loved it more so because we saw the truth of us, right? This is the truth of our culture. This is how beautiful we are and how much we contribute and how much more we can contribute. But to your point, I think we have to get away from being so, relying on everybody else. We have to establish, more so the greatness of who we are and not look around to see who's like, oh, well, I don't agree, or who doesn't agree. It just is what it is. And I think it's time for that to happen.
Yeah, again, if we knew our history, if our children were more aware of our history. So we're given a month, Black History Month. So, but why, that's sort of insulting. Every day should be Black history should be celebrated. That you could take all of African American history and you could celebrate it each day of the year, 365 days and beyond. And so one of the songs, we don't get to hear it in the pre-show, is Black Man by Stevie Wonder. And when I listened to that song, that was on that incredible album, Songs in the Key of Life, that came out in 76.
Right.
And listening to it, I was like, oh my God. But he also talks about not just the Black man, the red woman, the yellow man, the brown man. This land that was taken away from the Native Americans, it's for everybody. And we also have given it really is for everybody. Unfortunately, we've given short shrift to the Native American, and something that I'm not proud of, but on the other side, I am proud of it because I do have Native American in me. So I feel like, well, I'm a real American, but not real, yes and no. But, it's about being more aware, because at the end of the day, I really do believe that human beings, at our core, we're good people, but we get so caught up in the crap of life that we move away from who we are, who we were created to be. Again, doesn't matter, color, race, creed is irrelevant. And because, as we were saying before we started this interview, things are crazy right now. There's just so much confusion. There's a serious imbalance. Cosmically, karmically, right now, not just in our country, but in the world. You can feel it. We were talking about the weather. The weather is insane. And I think it is sort of a metaphor for the health or the ill health of our universe right now. We all just need to, step back, take a breath, and just breathe and just be more aware of who we are and where we are in our lives, and the social media, all of that, be damned, because we didn't have it 20 years ago. I mean, we had it, but not it's just coming at us, and misinformation, everything's just coming at us at breakneck speed that you're not able to think. And for me, as I get older, as I enter my twilight years, thinking and spending more time and reflecting it's so important to me.
I agree with you 100%. I was actually listening to something Lady Gaga was talking about, and she said, be very careful of the evil in division, and she was saying that when it comes down to all this stuff,
totally.
The snake is about dividing us because they can win, right? Evil can win when we're divided. And then she said the main thing is kindness, is really respecting and dignity of all people, right? And I really agree with her 100%. I mean, I think, we all want to be happy. Me and my business partner talk about this all the time. It's like, in terms of even who we collaborate with, the heart and humanity is important to us. Money, of course, but definitely when we're working, it's the synergy. And I think that's that kindness that all of us can bring, that compassion, that honesty, right? And that truth that we bring to the table is so key and important. And also dialogue, like me and you are having a great conversation, right? So we're talking, and through this dialogue, I am understanding 100% your heart in terms of this project, and then what it's about, and that is in helping me, right? I mean, now I got a different picture. I'm more engaged in the whole project too, because if someone asks me, I'm gonna say, well, listen, I interview the actress and she is off the hook, and the director. You know what I mean? So that's how we do it, though. You know, how I can honestly speak to, you know, everyone I know and say, yeah, you definitely need to go see this production. You know, and I mean that's important. So I think dialogue is in conversation and engagement, and not being judgmental of, you know, everybody. Just it is what it is, you know, and just
right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely something that I have to constantly check myself, a minute, second by second. You know, judge that you not be judged.
Right.
And I'm sorry, and also practicing these random acts of kindness. They make such a difference.
Oh, they do. I mean, they make you, you know, they make you feel good, and the person that you're doing it with, they make them feel good. I mean,
it's good for your brain waves, man. It's totally, when you do something, a person smiling at you when you hold the door, just say thank you or please. I mean, this is what we've gotten so far away from thank you and please, and it's so funny. When I was just raised that way. So when I go into a store, I say thank you and please. And sometimes the people are thrown back. They're like, she said thank you. She said please. She said you're welcome. Because that's how far removed we've gotten. It's almost like we've gotten away from just the basic civility towards one another. And that's what's scary to me. That's what also frightens me.
Yeah.
Just basic common courtesy with one another.
Exactly.
Whether you like the person or not. You don't have to like me. Just I'm going to treat you with respect, and I ask that you treat me with respect.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I think that's the main thing, is that, and then you keep moving, keep moving, but
right. Keep moving.
Right? If it's not the person, then you keep moving and you keep going to what you got to do and fulfill your own mission, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
But yeah, Connie, it's been wonderful, really, being able to talk with you and
same here.
I definitely, wish you guys the best of everything, and I just know from speaking to you that even with this, and there's other projects more to come, with you. I mean, I feel like you got you have a lot going on, but I also feel that there's going to be a lot more that you're going to be doing, and I hope that you definitely, when you do it, come back, think of us, and come back to Black Talent TV anytime, and let's have a conversation. So, do you want to just say one more time how people can get the tickets, or
yes. So, American Captives, Lena Baker, Sandra Bland is being performed at Dixon Place, and that's dixonplace.org in New York City, Fridays and Saturdays this week and next weekend at 7:30. And American Captives, hashtag American Captives. You can find both Passion and myself on Facebook, and Twitter. Definitely you can find Rhonda Passion Hansome on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram, and dixonplace.org, and that's DIXONPLACE.org. Love to see you there.
Yes. Thank you so much, Connie, and have a wonderful day. And
you do the same.
Yes. Bye-bye now.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.